We are Tech Hub, the home of technology concepts.
This video will discuss security auditing, testing, and monitoring. In today's hyperconnected world, where data breaches and cyber threats grow more sophisticated and frequent, security audits have become essential to maintaining robust information security defenses. As organizations rely increasingly on digital assets and online services, it is critical to ensure that their security measures are both effective and compliant with industry standards. Security audits provide a comprehensive, structured review of an organization's security posture, identifying vulnerabilities, and ensuring adherence to regulatory and policy-based security requirements. This essay explores the practices and principles that form the foundation of security audits, providing insights into how they safeguard organizations and strengthen cybersecurity frameworks. A security audit is a systematic, independent evaluation of an organization's information systems, policies, and security controls. The primary goal is to assess the organization's ability to protect its assets, detect vulnerabilities, and ensure compliance with internal policies, industry standards, and regulatory requirements. Security audits are often required by governing bodies, regulatory agencies, or industry standards such as ISO 27001 or PCIDSS, to ensure that organizations are implementing best practices in cybersecurity. Security audits go beyond merely evaluating the technology in place. They examine the organization's security policies, processes, personnel practices, and physical security controls. The outcome of an audit provides actionable recommendations for improving security and closing gaps that could be exploited by malicious actors. The practices of security auditing are grounded in several key principles that ensure the audits are thorough, fair, and effective. These principles provide a framework that auditors follow to deliver reliable, actionable results. 1. Confidentiality, integrity, and availability, CIA triad. At the core of any security audit is the CIA triad, a fundamental model for information security. Confidentiality ensures that sensitive information is only accessible to those authorized to view it. Integrity means that information is accurate, reliable, and free from unauthorized modification. Availability ensures that information and systems are accessible to authorized users when needed. During a security audit, the organization's ability to maintain the CIA triad is carefully assessed. Auditors examine how the organization protects its data, maintains its accuracy, and ensures continuous availability. 2. Risk management. A security audit is closely tied to an organization's risk management framework. Risk management involves identifying, evaluating, and prioritizing potential threats and vulnerabilities. By understanding where the greatest risks lie, organizations can allocate resources to mitigate those risks effectively. During an audit, auditors will evaluate the organization's risk assessment processes, determining whether they accurately reflect the current threat landscape. Auditors assess how risks are mitigated, whether through technological controls, e.g., firewalls, encryption, or administrative controls, e.g., security policies, employee training. The goal is to ensure that an organization's security measures are commensurate with the identified risks. 3. Compliance. One of the primary objectives of a security audit is to ensure that an organization complies with relevant legal, regulatory, and industry-specific security standards. Compliance can range from government-mandated regulations, e.g., GDPR, HIPAA, to industry standards, e.g., PCIDSS for payment security, ISO/IEC 27001 for information security management systems. A security audit will examine whether the organization meets the criteria outlined in these standards. Failure to comply can result in fines, legal consequences, and reputational damage. By ensuring compliance, organizations not only avoid penalties but also demonstrate their commitment to protecting their customers' and partners' data. 4. Separation of duties (SOD). The principle of separation of duties (SOD) plays a crucial role in reducing the risk of insider threats and fraud. It dictates that critical tasks should be divided among multiple individuals, preventing any one person from having too much control over sensitive operations. For example, a person who approves financial transactions should not also be responsible for executing them. Security audits assess whether the organization has implemented SOD controls effectively, ensuring that no single individual has excessive power over critical systems or processes. This reduces the risk of internal abuse and limits the potential damage from compromised accounts. 5. Audit trails and documentation. Auditing is a documentation-heavy process, requiring thorough examination of logs, records, and audit trails. An audit trail provides a history of events, including who accessed what systems, when, and for what purpose. Strong audit trails are essential for identifying the source of security incidents, tracking compliance, and ensuring accountability. During a security audit, the organization's documentation is reviewed to ensure that audit trails are being kept and maintained appropriately. This includes log management, incident response documentation, access control logs, and security policies. The goal is to ensure that there is transparency and accountability in the organization's operations. To effectively carry out a security audit, several practices are followed to ensure a thorough and detailed assessment of an organization's security posture. 1. Planning the audit. Before the audit begins, it is crucial to plan the scope, objectives, and methodology of the audit. This phase involves defining the scope, identifying the systems, processes, and controls that will be audited, establishing objectives, determining what the audit will evaluate, such as specific security controls or compliance with standard, selecting audit methodology, deciding whether to use internal audits performed by the organization staff or external audits conducted by third-party experts. By clearly defining the scope and objectives, auditors can focus their efforts and ensure that the audit addresses the organization's most critical areas of concern. 2. Data collection and assessment. Once the audit begins, the auditor's task is to collect data on the organization's systems, policies, and controls. This can involve interviews, speaking with employees to understand their roles, responsibilities, and adherence to security policies. Policy review, assessing written policies and procedures related to security, access control, incident response, and compliance. System testing, examining network security, configuration management, and the effectiveness of technological controls like firewalls, encryption, and antivirus software. Vulnerability scanning, using automated tools to identify potential weaknesses in the organization's IT infrastructure. Data collection provides auditors with the necessary information to assess the effectiveness of the organization's security controls and identify areas for improvement. 3. Testing controls. Once the data is collected, auditors will test the security controls to determine if they are functioning as intended. This can involve penetration testing, simulating cyber attacks to assess the resilience of the organization's defenses, access control testing, verifying that only authorized individuals can access sensitive systems and data, incident response testing, ensuring that the organization has effective procedures in place for responding to security incidents. Testing is a critical part of the audit process, as it provides real-world insight into the effectiveness of the organization's security measures. 4. Analyzing findings. After testing is complete, the auditor will analyze the findings to determine whether the organization's security controls meet the required standards. This involves identifying gaps, highlighting areas where the organization's security measures are insufficient or non-compliant, assessing risks, evaluating the severity of identified vulnerabilities, and determining their potential impact on the organization, recommending improvements, providing actionable recommendations for addressing gaps and strengthening security. The auditor's analysis provides the organization with a clear picture of its security posture and offers guidance on how to improve. 5. Reporting. The final step in the security audit process is to compile the findings into a formal audit report. This report includes summary of the audit, a high-level overview of the scope, objectives, and methodology used, detailed findings, a breakdown of the vulnerabilities and issues identified during the audit, recommendations, specific steps the organization should take to address the identified issues, compliance status, a statement on whether the organization is compliant with relevant security standards and regulations. The audit report serves as a roadmap for improving security and achieving compliance. Security audits are a vital component of an organization's cybersecurity strategy, providing a detailed assessment of its ability to protect sensitive data, mitigate risks, and comply with industry standards. By adhering to the principles of confidentiality, integrity, availability, risk management, and compliance, Security audits offer organizations a framework to continuously improve their security posture. Furthermore, by identifying gaps and vulnerabilities, audits provide actionable recommendations for fortifying defenses and maintaining resilience in the face of evolving cyber threats. Through diligent planning, testing, and reporting, security audits empower organizations to safeguard their data, build trust with customers, and demonstrate their commitment to security excellence. Monitoring computing environments, log management and intrusion detection/prevention systems, IDS/IPS. In the rapidly evolving world of cybersecurity, monitoring computing environments is essential for detecting threats, preventing attacks, and ensuring the overall security and integrity of IT infrastructure. With the growing sophistication of cyber attacks, organizations need to adopt proactive and robust monitoring strategies to stay ahead of potential breaches and maintain secure environments. Two key components of monitoring computing environments are log management and the deployment of intrusion detection systems, IDS, and intrusion prevention systems, IPS. These systems provide real-time insights into network activity, help detect anomalous behavior, and take action against potential intrusions. This essay will explore the importance of monitoring computing environments and detail how log management, IDS, and IPS work together to enhance security. The importance of monitoring computing environments. At the heart of any effective cybersecurity strategy is the continuous monitoring of computing environments. Monitoring involves the collection, analysis, and interpretation of data generated by various systems, applications, and network devices. This data provides a detailed view of system activities, network traffic, and user behavior, enabling organizations to detect unusual or malicious activity. Real-time monitoring is essential for identifying and mitigating security threats before they escalate into full-scale breaches. A well-monitored environment also allows organizations to track compliance with regulatory standards, identify internal policy violations, and respond to incidents promptly. In today's complex threat landscape, organizations that fail to implement adequate monitoring risk exposing themselves to data breaches, downtime, and financial loss. Log management. The foundation of security monitoring. Log management is one of the foundational practices for monitoring computing environments. Every action that takes place within an IT system, whether it's user authentication, network traffic, or application usage, generates logs. These logs are valuable records of system activities and serve as a rich source of data for identifying potential security issues. Effective log management involves the collection, storage, and analysis of these logs to provide a comprehensive view of an organization's digital environment. 1. Centralized log collection. Organizations use various systems and devices to generate logs, including servers, firewalls, applications, and routers. With logs dispersed across multiple systems, it becomes challenging to monitor all activities efficiently. This is where centralized log collection plays a critical role. Centralizing logs in a single repository, such as security information and event management, SIEM, platform, allows for the aggregation and correlation of data from diverse sources. Centralized log management provides several key benefits. Holistic view of activity. By aggregating logs from across the entire network, organizations gain a unified view of all activities taking place within their computing environment. Correlated events. Centralized log management makes it easier to correlate events across systems, helping to identify suspicious patterns that may indicate an attack in progress. Simplified auditing. During security audits, centralized logs provide a consolidated dataset that auditors can review for compliance and policy enforcement. 2. Real-time monitoring and alerting. One of the primary benefits of effective log management is real-time monitoring. By continuously analyzing logs as they are generated, security teams can detect anomalies and potential threats as they happen. SIEM platforms often include real-time alerting capabilities, notifying security personnel when predefined security events occur, such as failed login attempts, unusual network traffic, or unauthorized access to sensitive systems. Real-time alerting is essential for incident response. It allows security teams to take immediate action, whether that's investigating an incident, blocking suspicious traffic, or quarantining a compromised system, before an attacker can cause significant damage. 3. Log retention and forensic analysis. Log data is not only valuable in real time, but also essential for forensic analysis after an incident occurs. Retaining log for extended periods enables security teams to review past activities, identify the root cause of a breach, and understand how attackers gain access to systems. Proper log retention policies ensure that historical data is available for forensic analysis, compliance reporting, and legal investigations. Many industries are also subject to regulatory requirements that dictate how long logs must be retained. For example, the payment card industry data security standard, PCIDSS, requires organizations to retain logs for a minimum of 1 year. By implementing log retention policies, organizations can ensure they meet these compliance requirements while maintaining a robust record of security events. Intrusion detection systems, IDS, and intrusion prevention systems, IPS. In addition to log management, the deployment of intrusion detection systems, IDS, and intrusion prevention systems, IPS, is essential for monitoring and protecting computing environments from malicious activities. These systems actively monitor network traffic and system behaviors, helping to identify and block potential threats in real time. 1. Intrusion detection systems, IDS. An intrusion detection system, IDS, is designed to detect and alert security teams about potential intrusions or malicious activities within the network. IDS solutions monitor network traffic, system activities, and application behaviors to identify patterns that may indicate an attack. There are two main types of IDS. Network-based IDS. NIDS, these systems monitor network traffic for signs of suspicious activity, such as port scanning, malicious payloads, or unusual traffic patterns. NIDS is typically deployed at key points within the network, such as behind firewalls or at network perimeters. Host-based IDS. HIDS, these systems monitor activities on individual devices or servers, detecting changes in file systems, user behavior, and local applications. HIDS is useful for identifying attacks that may bypass network defenses, such as insider threats or malware infections. IDS tools use two primary methods for detecting intrusions. Signature-based detection. This method compares network traffic and system activity to known attack signatures. If the IDS recognizes a pattern that matches a known attack, it raises an alert. Signature-based detection is highly effective against known threats, but may struggle to detect new or unknown attack patterns. Anomaly-based detection. Anomaly-based IDS tools establish a baseline for normal behavior within the network or system. If the IDS detects deviations from this baseline, it raises an alert. This approach is effective at detecting zero-day attacks or novel threats, but may also generate more false positives. An IDS by itself is a passive system. It does not take action to block or mitigate threats. Instead, it alerts security teams, who then investigate and respond to the detected threats. The value of an IDS lies in its ability to provide early detection of potential intrusions, allowing security personnel to take preemptive actions. 2. Intrusion prevention systems, IPS. While an IDS is focused on detection, an intrusion prevention system, IPS, goes a step further by actively blocking or mitigating threats in real time. An IPS functions similarly to an IDS in that it monitors network traffic and system activities. However, when an IPS detects suspicious activity, it automatically takes action to prevent the attack from succeeding. Key actions an IPS can take include dropping malicious packets. If the IPS detects that a packet contains malicious code or violates security policies, it can drop the packet before it reaches its intended destination. Blocking IP addresses. The IPS can block traffic from specific IP addresses or networks that are known to be sources of attacks. Terminating connections. If the IPS detects a malicious connection, it can terminate the session to prevent further communication between the attacker and the compromised system. Quarantining compromised systems. In some cases, the IPS can isolate compromised systems, preventing them from interacting with the rest of the network while security teams investigate the issue. An IPS provides real-time protection, stopping attacks as they happen and preventing damage from spreading. This proactive approach is critical for defending against fast-moving threats, such as ransomware or distributed denial of service, DDoS, attacks, which require immediate action to mitigate. 3. Combining IDS and IPS for comprehensive security. For maximum security, many organizations deploy both IDS and IPS systems. The combination of detection and prevention capabilities ensures a layered defense that can detect potential threats early and take action to neutralize them before they cause damage. While the IPS offers real-time protection, the IDS provides valuable insights into attack patterns and behaviors that may help security teams fine-tune their defenses. By correlating data from IDS and IPS systems with log management platforms, organizations gain a more comprehensive understanding of their security posture and can respond more effectively to evolving threats. Monitoring computing environments is a critical component of modern cybersecurity strategies. Through effective log management, organizations can collect and analyze vast amounts of data to detect anomalies, investigate incidents, and demonstrate compliance. Meanwhile, intrusion detection systems IDS and intrusion prevention systems IPS provide real-time visibility into network traffic and system activities, detecting and blocking malicious behaviors before they escalate into breaches. The combination of log management and IDS/IPS solutions enables organizations to maintain constant vigilance over their IT environments, ensuring that they can identify and respond to threats proactively. As cyber attacks become more sophisticated and frequent, investing in robust monitoring capabilities is not only a best practice, it's a necessity. By adopting these technologies, organizations can build a secure and resilient digital infrastructure that inspires confidence and trust in their ability to protect sensitive data and assets. Assessing an organization's security compliance. In today's digital age, organizations must navigate a complex landscape of cybersecurity threats while adhering to a myriad of regulations, industry standards, and internal policies. As cyber attacks increase in sophistication, the pressure to maintain compliance with security standards has intensified. Security compliance is not just a legal or regulatory obligation, but a fundamental aspect of protecting an organization's data, reputation, and business continuity. Assessing an organization's security compliance involves evaluating whether its security practices align with regulatory requirements, industry-specific standards, and internal policies designed to safeguard critical assets. This process plays a pivotal role in managing risk, avoiding legal penalties, and demonstrating a commitment to robust information security. In this essay, we will explore the process of assessing security compliance, highlight key frameworks and regulations, and outline the best practices for ensuring the importance of security compliance. Before diving into the assessment process, it's important to understand why security compliance is critical to modern organizations. Compliance refers to the adherence to legal, regulatory, and industry-specific standards that dictate how data must be handled, stored, and protected. These standards are designed to mitigate risk, prevent data breaches, and ensure the privacy and security of sensitive information. Failure to meet security compliance standards can have significant consequences. Legal penalties. Non-compliance with regulations such as the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, or the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, HIPAA, can result in hefty fines and legal actions. Reputational damage. A publicized data breach due to non-compliance can erode customer trust and damage an organization's reputation. Financial loss. In addition to fines, the costs associated with remediation, legal fees, and loss of business can be substantial following a security incident. Operational disruptions. Non-compliance may result in audits, investigations, or even shutdowns, which can hinder business operations. Security compliance not only helps organizations avoid these pitfalls, but also fosters a culture of security awareness, promoting best practices that enhance overall cybersecurity resilience. Key frameworks and regulations for security compliance. When assessing an organization's security compliance, it's essential to understand the relevant frameworks and regulations that apply. Compliance requirements vary based on industry, geographic location, and the type of data handled. Below are some of the most widely recognized compliance standards and regulations. 1. General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR. The GDPR, enacted by the European Union, is one of the most comprehensive privacy and data protection regulations globally. It applies to any organization that processes the personal data of EU citizens, regardless of where the organization is based. Key requirements of the GDPR include obtaining explicit consent for data collection, ensuring data portability, and reporting data breaches within 72 hours. Non-compliance with the GDPR can result in fines of up to 4% of an organization's global annual revenue. 2. Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, HIPAA. The HIPAA regulation, applicable in the United States, governs the privacy and security of individuals' health information. It requires healthcare providers, health insurers, and their business associates to implement stringent safeguards to protect electronic protected health information, EPHI. Compliance with HIPAA involves implementing access controls, encryption audit trails, and breach notification procedures. 3. Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, PCIDSS. The PCIDSS is a set of security standards designed to protect credit card data and ensure secure transactions. Any organization that processes, stores, or transmits credit card information must comply with PCI-DSS requirements, which include strong encryption, access controls, network monitoring, and regular vulnerability assessments. 4. ISO/IEC 27001. The ISO/IEC 27001 is an international standard for information security management systems, ISMS. It provides a risk-based approach to managing information security, requiring organizations to identify potential risks, implement controls, and continuously improve their security posture. ISO/IEC 27001 certification demonstrates an organization's commitment to information security best practices. 5. Sarbanes-Oxley Act, SOX. The Sarbanes-Oxley Act, SOX, is a U.S. law that primarily applies to public companies and aims to protect investors from fraudulent financial reporting. While SOX is focused on financial transparency, it includes stringent requirements for safeguarding electronic records and ensuring the integrity of IT systems that impact financial reporting. The Security Compliance Assessment Process. Assessing an organization's security compliance is a multifaceted process that involves evaluating whether its security policies, procedures, and controls meet the requirements of the relevant standards and regulations. This assessment provides organizations with a clear understanding of their current security posture and helps identify gaps that need to be addressed to achieve full compliance. The following steps outline a typical security compliance assessment process. 1. Identify applicable standards and regulations. The first step in assessing security compliance is identifying specific standards and regulations that apply to the organization. This is often determined by the industry in which the organization operates, the type of data handles, and the geographic regions where it conducts business. For example, a healthcare provider in the U.S. must comply with HIPAA. A global e-commerce platform handling credit card transactions must comply with PCI-DSS. A multinational organization dealing with EU citizens' data must comply with GDPR. Understanding the compliance landscape ensures that the organization focuses on the right requirements during the assessment process. 2. Conduct a gap analysis. A gap analysis compares the organization's current security practices against the requirements of the applicable standards and regulations. This step helps identify areas where the organization is non-compliant or lacks adequate security controls. During a gap analysis, the organization reviews its existing security policies, procedures, and technologies to determine whether they align with the standard in question. For example, does the organization have an incident response plan that complies with regulatory breach notification requirements? Are encryption protocols in place for protecting sensitive data at rest and in transit? Are employees trained on data privacy and security best practices? By conducting a thorough gap analysis, organizations can pinpoint areas where improvements are needed and prioritize remediation efforts. 3. Assess security controls and policies. Next, the organization must evaluate the effectiveness of its security controls and policies. Security controls are the technical, administrative, and physical safeguards put in place to protect data and ensure compliance. These controls can include firewalls, encryption, access controls, multi-factor authentication, and intrusion detection systems. Auditors or internal teams will assess whether these controls are sufficient to meet compliance requirements. This often involves testing the security controls to ensure they are functioning correctly and identifying any weaknesses that could lead to non-compliance. Security policies, on the other hand, are the written guidelines that outline how the organization manages and protects its information. Policies should be reviewed to ensure they cover all aspects of compliance, including data protection. How is sensitive data stored, accessed, and shared? Access management. Who has access to critical systems? And how are access privileges managed? Incident response. How does the organization respond to data breaches? And is the process compliant with regulatory requirements? 4. Monitor and audit regularly. Achieving compliance is not a one-time event. It requires continuous monitoring and auditing. Organizations must regularly assess their security posture to ensure that they remain compliant as new threats emerge, regulations evolve, and business practices change. Implementing a continuous monitoring program allows organizations to detect changes in their environment that could affect compliance. This can include real-time log analysis, vulnerability scanning, and the use of security information and event management, SIEM, systems to identify potential security incidents. Regular audits, both internal and external, are essential for maintaining compliance. Audits involve reviewing security controls, policies, and processes to ensure that they meet compliance standards. External audits, conducted by third-party auditors, provide an unbiased assessment of the organization's compliance status and may be required for certain certifications, e.g., ISO/IEC 27001 or PCIDSS. 5. Remediation and continuous improvement. Once a compliance assessment has been conducted, the next step is to address any identified gaps and vulnerabilities. This remediation process involves implementing new security controls, updating policies, and improving existing procedures to meet compliance standards. Organizations should also embrace a mindset of continuous improvement. As new threats and regulatory changes arise, security practices must evolve. Regular training for employees, staying informed about regulatory updates, and investing in security technologies are critical for maintaining compliance over time. Best practices for security compliance. Achieving and maintaining security compliance requires more than just meeting the minimum standards. Organizations should adopt a proactive approach to compliance by following these best practices. Foster a culture of security awareness. Security compliance starts with people. Regular training programs for employees help ensure they understand their role in protecting sensitive data and complying with regulations. Automate compliance processes. Using automation tools, such as compliance management platforms and SIEM systems, can streamline monitoring and reporting, making it easier to maintain compliance. Collaborate with external auditors. Third-party auditors can provide valuable insights into compliance and help organizations achieve certification for industry standards. Stay ahead of regulatory changes. Compliance is a moving target, and organizations must stay informed about evolving regulations. Engaging legal and compliance experts can help ensure the organization stays ahead of changes. Assessing an organization's security compliance is a critical step in safeguarding sensitive data, maintaining regulatory standards, and reducing cybersecurity risks. Through a structured process that involves identifying relevant standards, conducting gap analyses, evaluating security controls, and regularly auditing systems, organizations can achieve and maintain compliance in an ever-evolving threat landscape. Beyond simply meeting legal obligations, security compliance reflects a commitment to protecting customers, partners, and stakeholders by upholding. To summarize all that was discussed in this session, the field of information security and cybersecurity, auditing, testing, and monitoring are vital practices that help organizations protect sensitive data, maintain regulatory compliance, and enhance their overall security posture. These activities ensure that systems and processes align with security standards and mitigate risks posed by evolving cyber threats. Security audits involve reviewing and evaluating an organization's security policies, controls, and procedures to ensure they meet industry standards and regulatory requirements. Audits help organizations identify weaknesses, assess compliance, and ensure that data protection measures are in place. Audits can be internal or external, with third-party assessments providing unbiased evaluations of security readiness. Testing refers to the process of actively evaluating the effectiveness of security controls. Penetration testing, pen testing, vulnerability assessments, and red teaming exercises are common approaches used to simulate attacks and identify system vulnerabilities. These tests help organizations assess their resilience to threats and ensure that their defenses are up to date. Monitoring is an ongoing process where organizations continuously track activities within their IT environment to detect and respond to potential threats. Log management is crucial for capturing event data, while intrusion detection systems IDS and intrusion prevention systems IPS help detect and block suspicious activities in real time. Continuous monitoring allows for the early detection of potential breaches, minimizing damage and ensuring swift remediation. Together, auditing, testing, and monitoring create a comprehensive security framework that enables organizations to assess their compliance, detect vulnerabilities, and respond proactively to cyber threats. These practices are essential for safeguarding sensitive data, maintaining regulatory compliance, and building trust in today's increasingly interconnected world.
Thank you for